All right, hello and welcome into Sports Talk on a Budget. It is Monday night, October 14th, year of our Lord 2024. Got a special show for you tonight. Mentioned this a little bit in my show yesterday that we were going to talk about a USC rant. As you can see, my brother Kory is here to do that. So got a special show. Of course, USC lost on Saturday in just unbelievable fashion. 33-30 after having a 14-point lead at halftime. So we'll go ahead and get into that. But before we do, how you do today?
Not too bad, not too bad. Better than Saturday, tell you that much.
Yeah, I think it's probably good that we got a day and a half to kind of digest that a little bit. Because I think if I would have done this Saturday night, it would have been a lot worse. Because
There
that
might
was
have
pretty.
been some curse words in it, and I don't know if I've been able to keep them out of it.
Yeah, and I mean, you could cuss if you want, I don't care. But yeah. So yeah, it would have been tough. I mean, I want to apologize to my neighbors. I live in an apartment, and I'm pretty sure they heard a lot of shit. So, but rough way to lose, as I mentioned. 33-30 was the ending score in overtime. 20-6 at halftime, so it was just inexplicable to kind of blow that lead and the way it came down to it. What was kind of just your main takeaway, or where would you like to take this from here, basically?
Just it was the capper for me. I'm over the Lincoln Riley situation right now.
Yeah,
Very excited about the hire 3 years
for
ago.
sure. Yeah,
Thought it was the right
same.
call. But it's been getting worse each year, and the losses this year just been hard to swallow. The Michigan loss, should have lost that game. Minnesota lost. That's an embarrassing one that
It
there's
is
no
good.
reason it should have been even close. And then this loss, yes, it's to number four Penn State, so it not like we were supposed to win this game or anything. But the way we lost it at the end, it's 100% on coaching. The last drive alone, we get the ball with 2 minutes 53 seconds left on the clock.
Right.
Run two plays before the 2 minute warning. Two plays before there's no urgency on the offense, no nothing. Everybody's walking, not calling the plays quick. After that, they run two plays and then let the clock go all the way down to 14 seconds. And the only reason why it stopped there is because Penn State called the timeout. Penn State, Lincoln Riley had three timeouts. You can't take them home.
Nope.
The only time you called timeout was when Penn State got the ball back.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when you decided to use his timeout. So
Right.
what are you doing? He basically brought it down to a 3rd and 7 where we needed 12 yards to
Right.
get into field goal range. So it comes down to
Right.
one play and you don't execute your offense in a normal fashion. You
Right.
basically want to settle for a long field goal, which showed in overtime that the
Yeah.
kicker didn't make a long field goal. He missed the 45-yarder and
Yeah.
sealed their fate. There's no reason there's no excuses for what he did. No excuses for how he ran that 2 minute offense. You got to get into field goal range before you start running the clock down. Get
Right.
yourself there, then
Right.
play the clock management game. Don't
Right.
waste the clock and hope that a 3rd and 7 is going to turn into a 12-yard gain and get us a 47-yard field goal.
Right.
That's it. Just
Yeah.
it was the top. It was the final straw in his losses. I mean, paying the guy $110 million.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah.
You expect more out of him. His first 33 games, he's 22-11. Clay
Right.
Helton was 25-8 in his first three, and we
Right.
all know how that worked out, and nobody
Right.
liked it. I mean, you got to be better. He's lost, other than the LSU game this year and last year. He's lost every big significant game, not having any significant wins. He's 4-8 in the last 12 games, with losses ending last year to Notre Dame, Utah, Washington, Oregon, and UCLA. And then this year with the Michigan, now this loss,
Yeah. Minnesota.
every
Yeah.
significant win. He's not winning. He didn't win the two Pac-12 titles he could have.
Nope.
And Pac-12 was a weak conference the last 2 years. I didn't see where they were extremely
Last year they
great
were
to
better,
where,
but yeah. 2 years
yeah.
ago he definitely could have won it. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
Should
just
have
he's
won.
not winning titles. Clay Helton in his first 3 years, he won a Rose Bowl. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
and I'm not. You know how I feel on Clay Helton.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
not a fan. I was glad he
Right.
went. So I expect him to be a higher standard. SC should hold their coaches to the same standards that Ohio State, Notre Dame, um, LSU, Alabama, all those schools hold their coaches to those standards. They want to win championships. You got to win titles.
Right. Well,
That's
I
what
mean,
expected.
you're getting paid $10 million a year. You can't win
Yeah,
7 games a year for $10 million.
right.
Yeah.
And
Well, like,
maybe we're spoiled from the Pete Carroll era, but I want that to be the standard, and I can probably speak for 95% of SC fans that that's what they expect too, especially
right.
for like you said, the 10 million a year.
Right. Well, and it's like it's not just the Pete Carroll. I mean, three different coaches have won multiple national championships at USC. So it's not like it
Right.
was just Pete Carroll had that 10 years and that was the whole program. This is not Clemson with Dabo Sweeney. Like that's their whole
Right.
basically history. So it's like there's
That's
more
our that's our
history.
history to the game though. Like that's what
Right.
me and you
Right.
started
Right.
watching Pete Carroll era. That's what we
Right.
expect. But yeah, you're right. Throughout, I mean, well, they got
Yeah.
33 Rose Bowls,
33, yeah.
whatever.
Three Rose Bowl appearances. I think they're like 25-8 or some shit. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's like 12 more than the next team. That's even, I think Michigan or Ohio State's second with like 12 or something like that. So
exactly.
you got, yeah,
It's a high standard to hit, and to not win a Pac-12 title in the last 2 years when
right.
it was there for your taking.
Yeah.
He's gotten worse each year he's been here, and he did the same thing in Oklahoma. I honestly don't think he knows how to coach outside of the Big 12, where it's all gunslinging offenses and they drop 45 points a game and don't play in defense.
Right.
Now that he's
Well,
in conferences that play defenses,
right.
I don't think he can compete.
Well, it was interesting. Actually, it was funny. I was thinking about that yesterday too. Is like just looking back at his Oklahoma days. So he takes over for Bob Stoops, of course, and that was kind of Bob Stoops' team. They had Baker Mayfield, Mark
Right.
Andrews. They were legit. But he also the entire time he was at Oklahoma, Texas was down. Like Texas wasn't
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah.
They aren't what they are now with Sarkisian. So it's like you're beating Oklahoma State, TCU, Kansas State, where it's like you just show up
Yeah.
on the field, you got better athletes than them. You're just gonna beat them because you're better
Yeah.
than them. On
You
most
just
days, you
outscore
lose
'em.
maybe once a year. And it's like that's not the case anymore in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
You can't just roll out there and be like, "Oh, we're going to drop 40 on you." It's like, no, you're not going to
Yeah.
drop 40. And the worst thing is like I saw something yesterday where it's like they've had a 7-point lead in the fourth quarter of every single loss. And
Yeah.
every single loss, you can look at a single drive, like that drive against Michigan that they had before Michigan scored.
Yep.
You take away 33 seconds or some shit like that.
Yeah.
You throw the ball twice, it hits the ground. You can't even you get 2 first downs there, and the game's over.
Yeah.
Game's done.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, game against Minnesota, they had a drive. They threw an interception, but they running the ball all over him, and then he decides to throw. They throw an interception, and then this last drive, I mean, shit, you're on the 50-yard line with almost 2 minutes left, and you end up doing your last play under 15 seconds. It doesn't. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't understand. It's like it's not like we got fucking Justin Tucker on the sideline. Like we don't have.
It's a
we don't
college
have
kicker.
a great
You don't
kicker.
don't settle for a long field goal. You never settle for that. Get a touchdown. Screw it. Go down the field, get a touchdown, and then just end it regardless. So what? You give them the ball back with 58 seconds. Let them score a touchdown. Put the pressure on them. Don't sit there and put the pressure on you and then settle for OT because I don't even know why that would come to his mind to settle for OT and settle for a long field. I just don't get the coaching strategy, and there's no coach out there that can tell you that that was the right way to go down the field.
Right. No, I was watching some today where they were just like, there was 3 guys talking. I think they were college game day guys or some shit, but and they were just like they couldn't understand what was going on, and they're yelling at their screen. They're like, "I'm not a USC fan. I'm yelling at my screen. Like, what are we doing?" And it was like they even said because they showed a shot, and James Franklin on the sidelines just like, what are we? Okay, you're just gonna let the time run out? Like he was probably just thinking to himself, like, what is this guy doing? And it's like I don't understand. Like you said, it's like we don't have a great kicker. Our kicker he's better than probably what we've had, but he's still not great. He missed the 45-yarder.
Yeah, he does have a leg, but why would you settle for a 47-yard field goal?
I don't understand. And it's like we were running, we outgained Penn State on the ground running the ball. Like Woody Marks had a really good
Woody
game.
Marks had a hell of a day. He's a stud.
And it's like you keep running with him. We were getting about 4 or 5 yards a carry, and it's like you just started to throw the. It's like I don't know. And the defense is better this year. They didn't have a great game. They played pretty well. Defense is definitely better this year, but it's like
miles better than what the last 2 seasons have been. Miles.
Yeah. And what's costed us is you can't score more than 17 against Minnesota is the offense, and that's supposed to be his thing. Like when the defense gives you the ball back with the chance to win the game, get 2 first downs, get in field goal range, win the game, you're Lincoln Riley. This is what you do. This is why you're a head coach. You can't, and it's 3 times in a row.
That's what's worked for him in the Big 12. But now that he goes to conferences to play defenses, he's not on the same level. Yeah. I mean, other than this game, he started out slow. The first half, they've been behind. The Wisconsin game, they were losing at halftime pretty decently. Michigan game, they were getting their butts kicked in the first half. He's been starting slow all year. Even the LSU game, it was okay. But this time he started fast. They have this 14-point lead. But then he gives it right back at the start of the second half. And just mismanaged possessions. And like you talked about, I was watching the game with a Michigan fan and a Wisconsin fan. Die hard from both from those states. Love the team. And they were saying the same thing you were. couldn't believe what Lincoln Riley was doing. What are you? Why weren't you calling timeouts? Why aren't you being aggressive? Why are you just settling?
Right.
And they weren't going for SC, but they were just as baffled as I was, and
Yeah.
they weren't cursing like I was, and getting the whole bar excited. But
Right. Well, and it's just like it's basically you're playing because they asked him after the game, like in the press conference, like what was his rationale behind that, and he's like, I didn't want to give Penn State any time to come back. It's like, so you didn't think you could get a touchdown. You didn't think your defense could get a stop when your defense played okay. So it's like you were just playing not to lose.
the
And it's
defense
like
played great, other than covering the tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, giving him a career day, 17 catches.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable, and he was wide open on a lot of those.
A lot of plays.
The zone coverage was not working with him,
No.
and he was 90% of the offense on Saturday.
Well, they waited till the last two drives. I don't know why they didn't just do this early on. They just put Ramsey on him and just had him follow him around. Just
Exactly.
have him do that the whole game. Ramsey's your best defensive player. That's their best offensive player. Their wide receivers aren't good. They made a couple of good catches. Those fourth downs obviously were rough, but it's like you still that hurt them a lot. But you had the opportunity to win the game in what's supposed to be your strength and defense, and you didn't. And you just decided to play it safe and to play it where it's like, okay, we'll play for overtime. We'll play for a 50-yard field goal with a decent kicker at best.
Yeah, a college kicker. I mean, I no disrespect to college kickers, but
Right.
they're not pros. Like you said, they're not the ones in the NFL making the big dollars. They're college kickers. There's a lot of college kickers that don't make a kick like that on a consistent basis.
No, and that's the thing. It's like, for me, after the LSU win, I was really excited for the season. Going into the season, I was just kind of like hopeful that they'd be decent. Like I didn't think we would beat. I thought we could beat LSU, but I didn't know if we could beat Michigan. And this game yesterday, going into it, I didn't really have high hopes. I thought we were going to get hammered, and that the fact that we came out on fire, we were up 14 at halftime. Probably should have been up more. It was some bad calls, but it's like that's another thing too. You get 2 touchdowns on those 2 field goal drives, and you're up 31-6. It's probably game over.
Yeah,
It's probably game over, and it's like, and I know there was one where it was a stupid penalty, but we're just gonna have to deal with we're not gonna get the calls in the Big Ten.
No. Yeah. They obviously the Pac-12 schools coming into the Big Ten have been disrespected a little bit, and they talked about not being able to play Big Ten football, and right now SC has not shown that they can play Big Ten football. It's nice seeing that Oregon came in and Ohio State came to them, but they got a good win in as being an old Pac-12 school, getting a big win in the Big Ten. So it was nice seeing that, but kind of shut them up for saying that Pac-12 schools don't play Big Ten football. But SC has had chances. They can play these Big Ten football games, but then they can't close it out. So now they're just kind of going back to what it was.
Right, and it's like everybody says no. Well, USC is just getting pushed around. It's like that's not really the case. Like they were in every game. They had a chance to win every game. They beat LSU, who's now a top 10 team. So it's like they're not just getting pushed around. Their head coach is not finishing games, and he's supposed to be this offensive genius, but he couldn't finish games last year.
And like you said, it comes down to a single drive in the end that stands out more than the rest.
Yeah, and you had a 7-5 record last year. You have 3 losses already. Now every game going forward is winnable. Even though I don't think Notre Dame's a very good team, to be honest.
No, I don't think so either. Nebraska's a winnable game. Those are the two tough games left, and I think they're both winnable.
At Washington shouldn't be that hard. Washington doesn't look that great. UCLA looks awful. If they can't, they lose that game, I would fire him right then and there.
Oh, he should be Lane Kiffin and not enter the bus.
Yeah, because it would just be at the Rose Bowl. He wouldn't have to be on a. But yeah, so it's like every game's winnable from here on out. But it's like you ended up 9-3, you're not going to get in the playoff. But I think if he doesn't end up 9-3, you got to pull the trigger, because it's like you end up 7-5 or 8-4. Like they were 7-5 last year, and the only reason they weren't 7-5 the year before is because Caleb Williams fucking played out of his mind every other game.
Oh yeah, that's why he was a Heisman Trophy winner.
He saved Lincoln Riley so many times, and it's like you would be looking at 3 straight seasons of basically a little bit above 500.
Mediocrity
for Caleb Williams.
Mediocrity for 110 million. Mediocrity is not worth it.
Yeah. And it's like I get, like, people are saying, like, Clay Helton left him with the shitty situation. Yeah, that's true. But it's like, okay.
Clay Helton had better records, though. Clay Helton was just as mediocre as he was.
And towards the end, he was
made
worse,
a lot less money. But he started out better. At least he got a Rose Bowl win. At least he won the Pac-12.
Yeah, he won the Pac-12. You got a Rose Bowl. We couldn't even beat fucking Tulane in the Cotton Bowl. And it's just like after – and I heard someone this week say, like, well, this is technically year 1 of the rebuild because he got a new defensive staff. It's like, that's his fault.
Yeah.
He brought over his defensive staff. That's not on USC to be like, okay, we're going to give you another 2 years because you brought over Grinch. It's like, no.
No, exactly.
No.
And I'm sorry.
I'm going to turn on the light real quick. 1 sec. Sorry. It's darker, quicker here. Go ahead, though.
To be held to the higher standards as the other schools, there's a lot of other schools that are rebuilding.
Right.
Is that they're using that excuse for all our players went to the pro? Marvin Harrison Jr. is on Ohio State. They're number 2 in the nation.
Right.
I mean, big programs lose players all the time. It's on you to recruit, you to keep it going. And there's no excuse. Miller Moss played amazing last year in the bowl game. Miller Moss is not the issue. Yes, he's had a few turnovers, but he's not the issue. He's playing good. He's playing good. He hasn't. There's times where he doesn't open up the offense and let him do his thing, and it just that's what kind of stymies their offense.
Right.
On some of these drives, because he just kind of is a little bit conservative about it, and he doesn't come in with urgency. It's I don't know. It's on him, and you can't use that he's on a rebuild year as an excuse.
No.
SC gets a ton of studs, a ton of top recruits that should be putting them back into a position to win these games, and they have. I mean, there's plenty of talent on the team. Defense is playing better this year. Why aren't they winning these games?
I think we're in every single game. It's not like we're just getting ran over by these teams. And it's like the only issue I see, because our defense is playing better, our offense is playing, but it's the offensive line's an issue. And it's like he never kind of addressed that, and that's also on him. And it's like, dude,
offensive line's been an issue at all 3 of his years there. I mean, Caleb Williams was running for his life. If he wasn't Caleb Williams, it would be just sacks every other down.
Right.
So it's like, why isn't he recruiting it?
And I don't understand. It's like you could pay these guys now. If you need to go get a top offensive lineman and give him $1 million to protect your quarterback, then do it. That's what Oregon's doing. That's what Ohio State's doing. That's what Bama's doing. It's like you could do that. It's like,
bro, you're LA. It's not Wyoming. LA. You're in LA.
Yeah, you're not in Eugene. It's like, yeah, they may have Nike. That's all they have. You're in LA. You got every other brand you can think of. They can go make a ton of money, and you could pay them as well. So I don't understand. And like you said, like you brought up Oregon earlier. So Oregon's coach is on his 3rd year as well. He looks a lot further along than Lincoln Riley does.
Sure does. And he's a real build. I mean, yes, he's Dylan Gabriel, but Bo Nix is in the NFL. It's not. Yeah. He's not using the same quarterback he had last year.
No.
Yeah, it's Dylan Gabriel transfer and stuff, and he's good, but that's not an excuse. You can't use that as an excuse.
No. Yeah, it's like. And like a shitty thing right now is they do have right now they're sitting with like I think the number 9 recruiting class going into next year, and you have a good defensive staff. So it's like
I'm very happy with the defensive staff.
Keep everyone, but it's like at some point if he keeps like if this ends up being 7-5, if he doesn't end up 9-3, I think you definitely have to have that conversation because like you say, if Pete Carroll's teaching at the school, I think Lynn
everybody wants Pete Carroll back if he's a possibility.
Right? And Lynn's kind of already said he'd like to have a head coaching job, so you maybe could even promote him. The linebackers coach was the head coach at North Dakota State and won 2 national championships. And I know it's a lower level, but North Dakota State's basically the best team that's not in the Division 1. So it's like you have options, you have other players in there. So it's like I don't understand.
He's built prolific quarterbacks from North Dakota State as well.
I mean, Trey Lance was great. At least at North Dakota State.
Carson Wentz was there too, right?
Carson Wentz. I don't know if he was. I think he was the defensive. But yeah, he was the defensive coordinator. So it's like at least he knows how to coach to the Big Ten kind of style or that physical play. Where it's like Lincoln Riley. It's like you can't play that style anymore. We're not in the Pac-12. We're not in the Big 12. Like the Big Ten's just different. But we're not getting pushed around. We're playing tough, and it's like you're just not closing games like you should be able to. And I know Caleb Williams isn't like you don't have a Heisman quarterback anymore, but you don't need to have a Heisman quarterback every year.
Yeah. And like I said, Miller Moss is not the issue. Miller Moss has been playing solid for a first-year starter in a brand new conference, the Big Ten. Like you said, we're not getting pounded. He's competing. He's got us in every game.
Right.
Got to get a W.
Yeah. I think he has to. He has to finish 9-3. You get a win against Notre Dame. Maybe that helps a little bit. Like I said, I don't think Notre Dame's that good of a team.
No. But it's a rivalry game. So the losses you don't want to have are Notre Dame and UCLA. So, like you said, if you lose UCLA, then you don't get on the bus.
Yeah, UCLA would be over. It would be over, I think, if at that point. But yeah, if you could finish 9-3 and show at least some progress, maybe you sneak into like the top 15 or some shit, and maybe look
I
like
think
you
if they
could.
go 9-3, they'll get up there in the standings.
Yeah,
Not top 10 worthy, but
yeah, they won't be in the playoff, unfortunately, but they could be like right on the outside looking in.
yeah,
Kind of
get a decent
sucks.
bowl, get a
Yeah,
decent team to play.
yeah, but yeah, you end up 7-5 again with losses to probably Nebraska and Notre Dame, or I mean, you end up losing some random game because you had to go all the way
Washington or
to
something.
Maryland too this weekend, where it's like
Right,
you're going
right.
on the other side of the like yeah, it could be real bad. So it's like I think he has to end up 9-3 to keep his job. I don't know if they'll fire him just because everybody thinks that there is momentum going forward. It's like, yeah, you could recruit and all that shit too, but it's like it's come down to his coaching decisions in 3 losses. It's come down to that. It's like, yeah. And it's like outside of Ohio State and Oregon, there's no team in the Big Ten that's going to out recruit you consistently.
No.
Penn State doesn't out recruit you. Michigan, I don't think Michigan's got the right coach. I think
No,
I
I
think they're
don't
gonna
even. Yeah.
they're gonna go backwards. Washington, we'll see. But it's like outside of Oregon and Ohio State, but even Oregon, you could go toe to toe with them. Ohio State's a different animal, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, when
You're selling
Pete Carroll-
LA, USC,
yeah,
great weather, money. They got the money. They don't need any issues with that. You said they shouldn't be getting out recruited by maybe other than Ohio State.
yeah. But even like when Pete Carroll was rolling, we played back to back years against Ohio State, beat them both times, handled them
Yeah.
in the Coliseum, beat them with Barkley.
Took
As a
a
freshman.
17-year-old freshman
Yeah.
into the shoe and beat them on a game-winning drive. Went down the field, won the game, finished, closed out the game.
Yeah, so the ceiling and the potential is there. I don't know if he's the right fit right now, and it's just I don't know. I was really like we said I was really excited for the hire. I thought he was going to do a really good job. He basically squandered 2 years with Caleb Williams because he didn't want to fire his friend from the defensive coordinator job.
Yep.
And it's like that puts you behind. Now it's like some of these recruits are seeing that they're like, I don't know if I want to play for this guy.
Yeah.
Like if he's not really focused on winning. Now you get the right defensive staff in. I think their defense will get better and better throughout the year and going into next year. But it's also just like, yeah, well, those first 2 years, we don't just forget about them. Like they're not just a wash.
Exactly.
They still existed. And so I don't get. Yeah, like I said, he has to finish 9-3 in my opinion with the win. You have Notre Dame at home. They're not a great team. They're a good team. If you can beat them, you spoil their playoff chances.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you
get a
maybe
good
have
bowl
something.
game too. You get a good bowl game, and you go out and you could resurrect it for sure with a bowl win because they get a team like Oklahoma, get a team like Clemson if they don't sneak into the playoff or something. You get maybe a good matchup that's not in the playoff, and that's another pretty win on your resume. Now you got a little bit of merit to stay around.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's funny you bring like Oklahoma. It's like I guess no one's really won that hire either way because they hired Venables after Riley left, and they don't look any.
Yeah.
They look worse than USC does.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Texas is good, and they may be the best team in the nation. But damn, that was an ass whooping. And
Oh yeah, and Texas made it seem like they could have probably put them more, but there's like whatever. This is all we need. Like they could have done worse, and like I don't think there's any great team in the country right now. Like I thought Ohio State maybe, but they lose to Oregon.
Oregon's got one of the best wins, and then Texas has 2 really good wins.
Yeah.
Smashing Michigan and smashing Oklahoma. Like ranked teams that the game's not even close. Like you said, they could have put up more points. Just pure domination. So they have the 2 best wins because of how they won. They went in and handled business, and it'd be nice to see them against Georgia this week.
Yeah, I think Georgia and Bama are not nearly what they have been.
No.
And I think Texas handles. I don't know if they beat them like they beat Oklahoma, but I think they handle Georgia this weekend. And Bama goes to Tennessee, but I think both those teams are kind of frauds at this point as well. But
Right.
But yeah, it's like it's wide, and that's the shitty part. It's like it was wide open this year. If you can get in, like there's no team that like really scares you. I mean, Texas is probably the best team. Then maybe Oregon, then maybe Ohio State, but it's like none of them look like they're unbeatable.
No.
It's not like this was like LSU with Joe Burrow. Like
Yeah.
no one was beating that. There's no team like that right now.
No. And all you need to do is obviously not choke to Minnesota and win either the Michigan or the Penn State game, and you get yourself a fighting chance to be in the playoff, regardless of how you do in the Big Ten championship game if you make that.
Right. Yeah, and it's. I feel like I was telling Jen after the game. It's just like I feel like they're just inventing new ways to lose, and it's like if it's one thing if like you're just getting pushed around and getting beat, but it's like you're in every game, 7-point lead in the fourth quarter in every game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have almost 3 minutes to put together a game-winning drive, and you can't do that, then you don't belong to be in the playoff. I mean, I was very confident that after they scored that touchdown with 2 minutes 53 seconds left, minimum we get an easy field goal. If not score a touchdown, put the game to bed.
Yeah. Well, and they got to midfield with almost 2 minutes left. They got two plays, got to midfield. It's like, all right, we're going. It's like get 30
and then ran
yards
two
and
more
good.
plays. Ran two more plays. Got 3 yards.
2 more plays.
Take it down to the 14 seconds. 14 seconds off a Penn State call. So you're not calling timeout, and you're running that play with 14 seconds left with just off a whim, not calling timeout, getting your offense set right, just making the right call. You're just going to wing it and hope you get 10, 12 yards to get in field goal range. And if you throw it in the middle of the field, you got to – well, you had timeout, so I guess you could call timeout. They could throw it in the middle of the field. But
you could throw it in the middle.
Still, like what happens if he takes a sack or something? Like,
then
get you really out of field goal
probably
range.
call timeout, but and then you just punt it.
But why not call that timeout with 50 seconds left when he could have get a right play, and then hey, get the first down, call timeout, do 2 run plays, get yourself closer, save your last timeout, take it down, kick a field goal. I mean, we're not coaches, so we don't know what to say, but everybody's saying the same thing. Everybody's saying the same thing. So
every video and everything I've seen since then is like, there's coaches that aren't good with the clock and like that, but that just takes it to a whole nother level. Like you just threw away a whole minute 45 for nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
to settle for a 47-yard, 50-yard field goal. Come on, dude.
Right. Yeah, because like say Miller doesn't throw an interception there, you trying to kick a field goal from there. That would have been like a 55. The kicker's not making that. It's just not going to happen. And then I don't get what the rationale was there. You're just playing scared at that point. It's like if you're going to play scared, then go coach at freaking San Diego State or some shit. Like you
playing not to lose.
Yeah.
No, don't play not to lose. Play to win the game.
Yeah, because you play not to lose, you usually lose because it's I don't like that kind of rationale, and that's what he said again after the game. You're like, we wouldn't want to give him the ball back. It's like, go in the end zone. They got to get a touchdown. They'll have no timeouts if you score a touchdown. Yes. So they're gonna have to get a touchdown in less than a minute. If they get, then good for them. Then you go to overtime, and then you see who wins. But it's like you give yourself an actual chance instead of going into overtime. Where anything could happen. I mean, we got hosed in overtime. There was two
missed pass interference calls for sure. But you gotta make a field goal, and that's what he was trusting before. So
because defense turned around and they gave up 4 yards, and then their kicker made the field goal. So it's like defense played fine. You would have been to second overtime. It's tied at 33 apiece. So I'm disappointed. I think this team had a lot more potential and just hasn't reached it yet.
The losses are tough to swallow, all 3 of them. One pathetic with Minnesota, should never happen. No. Michigan, they gave up 3 plays that killed them, and poor clock management at the end. And then this game just, like you said, it's unacceptable. I don't understand how you can, get away with calling plays like that. It just wasn't. I don't know.
Right. I mean, you got a 12-team playoff now. You know, at least 4 teams from the Big Ten are probably getting in. And you're out of it by the middle. It's not even Halloween, and you're out of it.
Yep.
And you're out of it.
After starting the season off with a big LSU win, which everybody was saying, the LSU team's not as good as they've been years past. Well, they just beat Ole Miss. They're back in the top 10, so I think that was a great win. Yeah. So to start the season so high, and then 3 disappointing losses out of the next 5 games. Yeah, this is awful to see.
Well, hopefully they can at least, like I said, at least get to 9-3, and hey, maybe chaos happens and you have an opportunity to try to get in the playoff.
It's happened before.
A Notre Dame team, because I think, it could happen before, but you'd obviously need a lot of help. Well, a lot of these teams play each other. Like Ohio State plays Penn State, Georgia plays Texas, Alabama plays Tennessee, and plays other teams. So a lot of these teams can lose. We just would need them to lose twice a piece, so that'd be tough.
Right. They need help, and then they have to win out. They have to
win out and look good. Like you have to beat Nebraska, you have to beat Notre Dame like good, not just we won in overtime or we won by 3 or some shit. Yeah. You'd have to beat them good.
Now it's back to it's taking the 12-team playoff out of it, and it's back to we got to have style points.
Yeah, Yeah, because and the 3-loss team has to look really good towards the end. That's only going to have to come from the Big Ten or the SEC. Would be a 3-loss team, but it's going to be tough. It'll be tough, but like I said, if they can get to 9-3, you beat Notre Dame, you beat UCLA, you at least look good down the stretch. Maybe you get some momentum there. Like I said, you have a top 10 recruiting class right now, so there is like at least decent momentum. But it's like that all that shit doesn't matter if you can't win games. Like these recruits aren't going to commit if you keep losing games. And you're playing on the Big Ten network and not on the Fox and CBS on Saturdays. So well, hopefully we could turn it around. Was there any last thoughts that you had?
No, just kind of got it all out. Just disappointing start to the season. I mean, after opening up so great, I got no words after the loss. Well, I mean, I have plenty of words apparently, but just it's unexplainable. So
right. Well. They travel to Maryland. I think they play like 2 o'clock here in Utah. I think it's probably 1 o'clock there. Obviously, you travel to Maryland. Should be a win. Maryland's not a good team. Yeah, cross
Minnesota
travel
was a win too.
Yeah. So cross country travel could be interesting, but should be a win. See if they can get back on track. This here is Sports Talk on a Budget. Just want to say real quick, if you like this show, please like and subscribe right down here on YouTube, or go ahead and like and subscribe on any kind of podcast network, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music. This was our USC rant. Thank you for your time, Kory, and we'll go ahead and finish this out here. Thank you for watching and listening, and have a great day.
Yep.